WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. We present a lot of wise conversations around here from time to time. And I have my Wise Markets mug that I keep my hydration and my coconut water in. And it's always provided by my old pal, Rob Santoni. He's at store 206. You call it Fullerton. Although in this segment, we're actually promoting an event over at the Towson store. Rob, welcome in today. It's always good to have you on. Before we get going here, we're going to talk about House of Ruth. We're going to welcome Justice Schisler in from House of Ruth. But I want to know who we're rounding up for. I always have to ask you who we're rounding up for in every Wise segment.
We are rounding up for Paralyzed Veterans of America, PVA, as we call it around the Wise world. It's a great cause marketing event each year, and it'll raise upwards of $750,000.
Well, Rob, I feel great about myself, even though it's in small increments. I always round up now, right? So it's at 50 cents. I feel at least I've done something charitable. I try to do lots of charitable things, but it's the easiest thing in the world you do when you're at Wise and you're checking out. Just hit yes to round up. Make sure you're using your rewards card as well. We talk about all of this stuff. We've talked about tailgating stuff. I'm out of ice cream right now, but this is a serious issue. And I know we promoted the Student Support Network for local children. We're going to welcome Justice on from the House of Ruth here. Now, you're new to House of Ruth here, but you're certainly not new to the cause of supporting women who need it the most and their hour of need.
That is correct. I'm happy to talk a little bit about House of Ruth, Maryland, for all those out there. House of Ruth, if you don't know, has been providing safety and security for women and their families in Maryland for 45 years. So we've been around for a long time. We have multiple services, an 84-bed emergency shelter, a 24-hour hotline, counseling, legal services, the Gateway Project, which is working with abusers to move the needle and help them move away from abuse and to providing healthy relationships. And we have a training institute. We have, like I said, an 84-bed shelter. So women that are in need or in an abusive relationship, whether that's physical, emotional, they need support, they can reach out to our 24-hour hotline. We can get them into services and move them to a safe place for their families.
I think we're at the point in the world with House of Ruth, and I've been doing this 30 years, and I know I've been talking about it at least 25 years here locally. I've had one circumstance in my life where I knew a woman abused, and the obviously the police, family, those type of things. But I think House of Ruth is top of mind for anyone who would be called into that very difficult circumstance to say, they're there for you. And tell me what that means when I would say that, when I would direct someone and say House of Ruth is there for you with a call, the hotline, all of that. A woman has been abused in some way, and it's that moment where they need someone. What do they do, and then what happens?
Well, absolutely. The first thing obviously to do would be to call the hotline. Again, it's staffed 24/7. They get immediate trauma-informed care response. We can find out whether or not they need immediate safety, they need to be removed, whether police need to be involved, if they can find a safe place. If they do come into our program, whether it's patient services or into our shelter program, we provide steps from the emergency shelter all the way through transition to get them again to a safe environment. The statistics tell us that 1 in 4 women suffer abuse at some point in their lifetime. If you think about that, probably almost everyone has come into contact with at least one, likely more women that have been in an abusive relationship. And we give them the resources and the skills to escape that for them and their families.
These are your sisters, your daughters, your friends, your coworkers, your loved ones, your cousins, your nieces. House of Ruth is here. It's all a wise conversation. Rob Santoni's here. Rob, you guys are doing something special here later this month. It's not even at your store. It's at the Towson store. And I don't want to tell you, but I shop at the Towson store often. I don't just shop at your store. I know you think I'm out on the west side over at Security, but I have shopped at the Uterwood store. It's the closest to my radio station, quite frankly, right under my tower. You're doing something special out there on the 20th, right? And I know you're doing it with my buddy Jamie Costello and WMAR. So I want to make sure the MAR people hear this down at 6400 York.
Yeah, Channel 2 takes care of us, but they also take care of the House of Ruth. This is a cause that is, no one wants to be part of the cause, but it's there. And where Weis comes into play is, supporting the House of Ruth by having these fill the house bins in every Weis location in our market area. 16 stores have these bins. And what I tell customers and I tell my associates, what goes in the bin, it lists what we want in there. But, I ask them, I'm like, you just have to think about the situation that not only the women, but there's young children involved. On a moment's notice, you have to vacate your home for a list of unfortunate reasons. You leave with little, sometimes nothing of what you need. When you wake up in the morning, you need a toothbrush, you need toothpaste, feminine hygiene products, a blanket, diapers, wipes, all things like that, in haste, a mother could forget for herself or for the young ones. So we are collecting those type of items in all 16 stores, and we will end up having almost a whole truckload filled, not just from Weis, but some other generous partners that you'll see on their website. And we deliver those the day before to the Towson store, and we will load those on the truck the morning of October 20th. And this live feed in partnership with Channel 2 will run from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. that evening at the Towson.
Where are my Calvert Hall people, Rob? That's right in the Calvert Hall parking lot, right?
That's okay, right there.
All these Hall, I went to the
Weis
Hall, Calvert Hall. Right, come on, this is the time to get out, man. Right,
Yeah,
right in the parking lot there.
Yeah, but our customers, this is our third year doing it. Our customers are so generous. They understand the need, they understand the purpose, and they come out in full force to fill these bins. So I ask all our customers, next time you're in, pick something off the shelf that is on that list and drop it in that bin for us.
And you come give Jamie a hard time on the 20th. This is over at the Towson Town Place in the Weis parking lot. It is from 6 until 9, or 9 and 6, 9 to 6 during the day. But you can also at any point drop things off at your Weis and Dundalk. If you're on Holabird Avenue, Weis Avenue, that's the Patapsco side. I mention it. I don't go there often on the Patapsco side, Rob, but Sparrow's Point, I move around the east side a little bit. Justice for House of Ruth, and I think for everyone during pandemic, right, in COVID, we've heard about statistics and numbers and people trapped in really bad situations and masks. And I would think the last year and a half, as much as we talk about trauma in this country, I think we're up against something here that's going to be even worse than anything we've had. Tell me what you're experiencing, and I guess dare I say growing House of Ruth, having more beds, more shelter, more charity, more people like Weis coming forward and people donating to Channel 2. But this has been a really rough time, I think, for the whole country the last 2 years, but specifically for people trapped in situations, bad situations.
Absolutely. I would say that it is more critical now than it was previously, just for the reasons that you're saying. So we anticipate that there certainly will continue to be a surge as people are able to get out of their homes. If you think about it, probably the people that were most impacted are those that don't have things for themselves. So if you then, whether that's partners who are in abusive relationships or children who can't fend for themselves. So they have been then essentially stuck in their houses, in often an abusive house. Just think about that. They couldn't, for some time, they couldn't go to school during, certainly when everyone was home, but then a lot of the schools didn't open. So they didn't even have that relief. So now is more critical probably than ever in at least certainly in the last several years, to be able to get to a safe place and then to be able to have the resources. Because just like you said, many of these women and their families left at a time, they just got out quickly. They got out quickly to get to a safe place, and they often take nothing.
And maybe have no plan, like literally, right? Like no plan at all. Tell me about counseling, and I really do want to understand more about when a woman brings two children. I understand you give them shelter, you can feed them. Then what happens on the inside? Because that's the important work. The important work is what the outcome becomes, I think.
Absolutely. So there's trauma-informed care along the way. So, and if you think about the trauma, there's all kinds of studies that show that nonverbal children the trauma that they see and interpret is lifelong. So it's taking it from providing them not only a place to rest and to be safe, but also making sure that those children continue to get education and schooling, that they have counseling available to both the victim as well as their family members in a, again, secure location. We offer family counseling, individual counseling sessions, and then we need that transition plan. We need to work with them for their initial safety plan, and then moving into transition, so then they can ultimately become productive members of society, where they can rejoin their communities in a safe way and move away from their abuser, or find resources to help them get to where they ultimately want to be. No one wants to be in this situation. Often the perpetrators use all kinds of abuse: financial abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse. All those things tie in to leaving someone with this, without having anything really. And when you have families and children, as a mother, I can tell you firsthand, you want to take care of your children. And when you don't have the resources to be able to do that, it's terrifying. So House of Ruth provides those services for people, that they can become safe and continue to raise their children and move from the victimization to a place where they want to be. And it's really some of these stories are just heartbreaking, but then to see some of the success stories and programs like this, providing the resources across the community in Maryland, is amazing. And the big things that we want to take away and remind everyone is, it's never the victim's fault. We are a phone call away, and
I just had the number up for you. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was gonna repeat the number.
Sure.
I would encourage anyone in need of help, find a safe place to go to our website. There's a link on there that says escape quickly. If you're on the website and if you're a victim, you're on the wesite and someone comes up, there's a way that you click off that website very quickly. You see the
chat
get help,
with us right here. It just says chat with us.
Absolutely. Yep. And the hotline number is 410-889-RUTH, RUTH.
If you want to get more information, it's hruth.org. I have, there's all sorts of fundraising and events, but I want to talk a little bit more about this MAR situation with you. Rob, you have a lot of partnerships. We talk about different charities almost every week here. We talk about food and nutrition and schools and different things that you do. This one hits home. And again, so many of these things we talk about, Rob, in all these segments, these are local things. It's nice to be involved in national things, but it's nice to have justice right down the street, literally doing this work. Right, Rob?
Yeah. This is just one of those must do, be a part of the House of Ruth. It's a problem, out there, and anything that a local business like Weis Markets can do to, relieve some of that stress and provide some of those materials. That's just being good business partners, being good human beings, doing the right thing, as a community partner.
Justice, tell me more about the rest of the work above and beyond this. We're all going to give food. We're all going to be there on the 20th. Jamie's going to be doing this on the MAR all day long on the 20th, by the way, which is not my birthday. That's an inside joke for Rob, because my birthday's next week and he's giving me a hard time. I'm going to have your root beer flavored ice cream, my Weis ice cream. I got to get a new flavor. I'm thinking candy cake, some seasonals too. I'm waiting on eggnog and pumpkin. Yeah. For you with the rest of the events and the rest of the calendar year, I see House of Ruth come up, and so many people do want to donate, do want to give, but I'm sure there's a lot of other ways they can be involved. And this is 365. In the work you guys do, just unbelievable work on the inside to take care of these ladies and their families.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do want to mention one other thing, which I think is a really exciting. The legal services that we offer at House of Ruth Maryland is literally the largest domestic violence legal counsel in the country. They have more than 20 lawyers on staff serving various courthouses throughout the state of Maryland. So not only are we removing these women and getting them to safety, but we're helping them through the legal process so that they can remain there, so they can get what they need. And then stay away from their abuser. So we do have some events. Unfortunately, like everyone, COVID has hit us kind of hard. So probably the largest thing is our regular appeals that go out. Those are monetary donations. We have people dropping off donations at our community education center in Baltimore City. And they can drop
goods
off
and
all kinds of
items. I mean, what would you request if I wanted to do something directly for you? What's the most common thing people give other than a check?
Sure. So the things that Rob mentioned already, but also people give clothing, they give housewares. What we always do first is we kind of separate it out. We have a social enterprise business. So we separate those things out. If they can go to the shelter to be used by the women and their families, that's the first stop. That we also have Ruth's Repeats, which is a secondhand store in Baltimore. It's closed right now because of COVID. Hopefully will be open soon. But there's that money, once it's generated, then comes back, or once it is generated again, I should say, when it reopens, it comes back again to House of Ruth to benefit the services that we provide. So all those things are in place, but we do have coming up very soon will be our Adopt a Family program. We have done that for years and years. It's a great opportunity to, again, help the women in shelter, in the transitional housing, in our legal services. So we'll be reaching out with if people want to adopt a family for the holidays. Following that, we have a spring luncheon. We have some other events here and there throughout the year, but those are kind of the big ones that are coming up in the next few months.
On behalf of Rob Santoni and our friends at Weis Markets, we have another Weis conversation benefiting our friends at the House of Ruth in Maryland here in Towson on the 20th all day long in conjunction with Jamie Costello. I had Sean Stepner on talking some Ravens football from WMAR this week. Rob, I know you do a lot with MAR over there. It's a great partnership. And this is really kind of a cross-pollination where you try to leverage everything you got, but MAR's relationship here has brought you all into this thing. How many truckloads of food we're going to wind up with before this is all over with?
Truckloads of food?
Yeah, what are we going to have? We're going to have different stuff, right?
For the, it'll be a whole, Von Paris is one of the partners, and we will fill
another local company. All right.
Yep. John's been very gracious with his trucks and donations, as well as, Kimco Realty is involved. They drop off big checks. There's several other, sponsors that'll just, they have their time slots to volunteer and take donations from the drive-through lanes that we have on that day, to help us fill that whole Von Paris moving truck. Beautiful. So we know how big those trucks are. So imagine, top to bottom, left to right, back to front. It's a lot of product going to a good cause. Where's
the House of Ruth located here, Justice?
No one knows.
No one knows.
No one knows. We have a secure location for our shelter in Baltimore.
Okay. I almost feel like bad for asking, but like I wanted to ask. If you're not allowed to know, you don't know.
Nope. And we also have a community education center that is open to the public where we do training, and that's in Baltimore City.
All right. Easy to find. House of Ruth, hruth.org. And of course, you can find them on the 20th at the WMAR, the Towson location. What store number is that, Rob?
228.
All right. He's teaching me all the store numbers. You're not part of the shtick every week, but we try to have it in here. Take care of the ladies there. Take care of the children. Take care of the families. We'll continue spreading the good word. If you ever need anything here at Baltimore Positive, you reach, okay?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rob and Weis.
Well, you know what? You've given me a chance to go chase Jamie Costello down here before the month's over, talk a little football with him and catch up with him. It's been about a year since we had Jamie on, so I know Don will want to be a part of that. On behalf of our former Baltimore County Executive, Don Moeller, done a lot of Weis conversations this week. We lost Ted Venetoulis this week as well. There's a lot of stuff they're talking about that. Luke's out in training camp. He'll be there the entire week getting you ready for Ravens stuff. And everything I do is out on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, including all of our Weis conversations. I am Nestor. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, right there where the Weis is in Udawood, Baltimore. And we never stop talking. Baltimore Positive.